having chip and seal on them. 15th Street from the Rails Trail to Main Willow Street from 2nd to 1st and others. Acting Public Works Director Dennis Tharp says most of the work should be done by the end of this week. The construction company doing the work should be in contact with those residents who may be directly affected by the work. The City of Ottawa has 23 different streets in Ottawa tabbed for the chip and seal, with 17 of those on the south side and 6 being on the north side. Tharp asks that drivers be aware of the work being done and take extra caution when driving near the work zones to allow workers to complete the job efficiently and safely. Now for the exclusive KOFO Weather Center forecast. Tonight, mostly clear, the low 66. Tomorrow, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 in the afternoon. Sunny, the high 91. Tomorrow night, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 1 Saturday morning. Mostly clear, the low 65. Saturday, mostly sunny, the high 87. The extended forecast, Saturday night, mostly clear, the low 63. Sunday, sunny, the high 87. Sunday night, mostly clear, the low 63. Monday, Labor Day, mostly sunny, the high 87. Monday night, partly clear, the low 64. Tuesday, a 20% chance of showers, mostly sunny, the high 87. And Tuesday night, partly clear, the low 64. I'm William Mayo, KOFO News.
Stay tuned for the following special presentation from 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas and home of Ottawa University Braves Athletics, welcomes you to the Nick Davis Coaches Show, live from Primetime Grill at Fusion Alley in South Ottawa. It's time for our weekly chat with the Braves head football coach and your chance to join us live at Primetime Grill for burgers, salads, steaks, drinks, and more. Enjoy their delicious Kansas cuisine while we share the next hour with Coach Davis and OU Braves football. The Nick Davis Coaches Show is brought to you by Primetime Grill at 2204 South Princeton Circle Drive in South Ottawa, and by Ottawa University. Now let's join our host, KOFO's Casey Weeder.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Nick Davis Coaches Show live from Primetime Grill. Casey Weeder joined by the 28th head coach at Ottawa University Braves football history, Nick Davis. Coach, appreciate you having here, ready to get things rolling.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. The atmosphere is great here at Primetime Grill here in Ottawa, man.
As we've got Mike Doug with us as well. He's over here to the right, I'm sure, putting some content together for us, the newest sports information director here at Ottawa University. So, as we start the 131st season of OU football, I know I kind of talked about this with your team, had me stop by a few weeks ago, but 22 conference titles, 9 playoff appearances, and third all-time in wins in NAI history with 584. Taking over this program as the 28th head coach, talk to me how much that meant to you as you were looking at applying it for this job back in November, and now as you're just a couple days away from coaching your first game.
Yeah, there's a long history of success here at this university, whether it be Dick Peters or Kent Kessinger or 5 or 6 coaches there in between, and a lot of victories in the history and conference championships and playoff appearances. So as a first-time head coach in college football, I feel like I'm very fortunate. A lot of the first-time head coaches end up in 0-11 programs and are rebuilds where I feel in this situation we're kind of just retooling and kind of making the program a little bit better than what it was last season, different aspects.
Coach K, who retired after 18 years at Ottawa University, has he, have you used him as a guide as you've kind of gone through this? Any advice that he's provided with his multi-years of experience?
Yeah, he's probably kicked me out of the office multiple times. He's got a new cush job at Ottawa as a professor, and I've gone over there, I would say, probably 6, 7, 8 times for his advice and just how do you handle this situation? What did you do here with the roster and the scholarships, and how did you handle with the cafeteria and meals and different things, all things you take for granted when you coached at the program and you weren't necessarily doing those things. So he has definitely been a lot of help, and honestly, I've went to see him more than he's came in to, tell me how to do things, which I think is very awesome.
Well, let's kind of jump into how the last 3 weeks have kind of gone for you as you built up through camp. First couple days on campus, weren't able to get into pads yet. What were some of the things you did as far as team building? I know you've had some guest speakers. Anything that you've done to kind of bring these guys together?
Yeah, the KCAC rules stated that our kids came on campus on August 2nd. The KCAC rules, I believe, if I remember correctly, August 6th could be your first practice. So we had about 4 or 5 days there where you couldn't do anything football related, but you're able to meet with the guys, do some leadership, and a lot of people would think of that as a negative. I thought of it as a positive, so we did a lot of positive leadership. Our core values is family, accountability, and mindset within our program. So we brought some alums. I know, obviously, you came and talked to the guys. Donald Anderson came. Our president, Doc Reg, came and talked about consistency. Our athletic director came one time, and we just had different guest people. Guest speakers come, because it can't always be the consistent message from me. It needs to be from other people within our university, other alums that have a tied interest into the program. So our guys heard from a lot of different people, kind of a similar message.
Now, after you had a couple weeks of kind of getting to knock heads with each other, jumped into a scrimmage up in Olathe, took on Mid-American Nazarene, who, as we saw last week, jumped out with a huge offensive out, scored 48 points, player of the week, NAIA F-ball player of the week, and the quarterback there. Definitely a challenge coming out of the heart of America. What all did you kind of learn from your team about that?
Yeah, them scoring 54 points made me feel a lot better about our defense, and they rested some players when we scrimmaged them, and we only played a half, but they definitely didn't score 54 points on us. So I feel pretty good about our defense of how they kind of held them in check in terms of that. But it was good experience for the guys and going up against what I think is a very similar program in terms of their talent level. So it was good to do that versus just hitting each other for 3 weeks and you don't know going into a week one matchup what you're really good at and what, may have challenges. So that was a nice opportunity for our guys. And, we handled a road trip. Again, it's 30 minutes, but that's maybe come invaluable when we go up to Avila.
And you had an inter-squad scrimmage last Saturday, just another opportunity to kind of get out and put on the black and gold, put on the uniforms and kind of was it more so a walkthrough to kind of prepare your team for this upcoming Saturday, or how was that different, I guess, structured than what you experienced against MNU? Yeah, so
MNU was more of a practice where we did some practice things and then we played a half of football and then we went and had our younger guys play 20 minutes on a kind of running clock. So everyone got to participate in practice segments, but they also got to participate in the head men's basketball coach just strolled up here at the Primetime Grill. But
you never know who you're going to see up here.
Local celebs. But we were able to then do an overtime period. And then last week we just played probably about 2.5 quarters of football. And, you can always practice football and, segments like let's run 6 plays and bring the next group in and play. But actually playing the game and having the special teams come out in the different scenarios are things you definitely have to work on. So we've worked on that 3 times, 2 inter-squad, and then 1 opportunity there against Mid-American Nazarene. As we look at the 2 deep that came out a couple of days ago, 28 of the 44 spots are underclassmen at this point, which we know more players are going to play than what's on that 2 deep, but was able to get a JV game in on Monday at Benedictine, which based off the live stream, it only lasted a half, correct? I tried to find any type of stats, but getting those guys out on a road trip and playing some guys that could potentially play Saturday. Technically a no contest, Casey, because they called it at halftime, so it actually ends up being, pretty nice because it's not going to count towards our guys' eligibility there for the JV. We call them the Gold Squad there, but the weather was lightning delayed, and they don't have lights there at Benedictine, which I was actually surprised by. And by the time it was going to be lightning free, it was going to be about 8:15. So me and the head coach there talked, and we said, hey, we can consider this a no contest, and it's not going to count towards any of our eligibility. And obviously we got to play a half of football, so that was good to get those guys and get them on the road. But we didn't execute like we wanted to there on Monday. Well, and we know how in the past Benedictine will tend to roll out their second string from their varsity more so than their young guys, as we've seen before on those score lines. But the one time our varsities did play, I believe it was 2014 or 15, we gave it to them pretty good there and beat them down there. So great opportunity for those guys. And you had jumping into your recruiting class, huge freshman class that came in and
some impact players coming in immediately, specifically in the trenches. You look at your offensive line specifically, all of those guys that are backing up outside of Kalen Kemp are freshmen. So Josh Hernandez from Wiley, Texas, TJ Osa from Junction City, Joe Farias, Floresville, Texas, Joshua Mayo from Utah. I mean, this is a group that's going to be called upon at points this year.
Yeah, no, we were definitely pleased with our offensive line recruiting class in terms of some young guys. We have Danny Sanchez, too, at tackle. That's a newcomer for us, a transfer, but a new guy to our program. So we're definitely put together a pretty good class, and those guys are, getting a lot of experience. And, you talk about a lot of young guys with COVID. Some of those, guys that are listed as sophomores are really redshirt sophomores that it would be junior if it wasn't for COVID. So some of those guys, when you look at are too deep and you look at underclassmen, some of those guys really are upperclassmen.
Well, we'll go ahead and take our first break here from the Nick Davis Coaches Show, live from Primetime Grill.
I shouldn't have to tell you this, but the big game isn't nearly as much fun when you have to watch it on a small screen. So make a play for Ottawa's Primetime Grill. With more than 40 screens, dozens of meal options, and a full-service bar, it's the place to be, from the first pitch to the last call. And you don't have to watch alone. Check out the party rooms at Primetime Grill that you can combine and hold as many as 100 hungry fans. Take a time out from that small screen you're watching now and check out primetimegrill.com for room rental and package details. For game time, it's prime time. We're at Ottawa University asking parents on new student move-in day why they chose OU.
The location, it's a smaller college that checked all the boxes that he was interested in, and the smaller classes that they have.
And how is the communication with the school?
Excellent communication. Anytime anything's been missing or they need anything done, they've sent us texts. If they can't get a hold of him, they did not hesitate to call me, and I like that because, once they're adults, a lot of times they won't speak to the parents, they speak to the kids, and so it's been communication with both of us, and I like that.
Ottawa University. Prepare for a lifetime of significance.
Doug. Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 in 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
What's better than the long weekend? Kohl's budget-boosting deals on denim. I got myself jeans for $19.99. 40% off Levi's for my son. Even my husband found a pair for 30% off. Plus, because I spent over $25, I got $10 off. And earned Kohl's cash. More style, more savings. Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end September 5th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
The KOFO Travel Club is heading to Branson for a weekend getaway, December 2nd through the 4th. Crossroad Tours will make pickups in Ottawa and Lewisburg, then head to Branson for an Ozark Mountain Christmas. Check into the Grand Oaks Hotel and enjoy a 3-day whirlwind of shows, shopping, dining, and more. Per person pricing is $589 for a double, $669 for a single, with triple and quad options available. The tour includes round-trip transportation, 2 nights hotel, 5 meals, drive-through light display, shopping at Branson Craft Mall, Branson Landing, Osceola Cheese, the Amish Trading Post, and the driver gratuity. And the shows. You'll see Clay Cooper Christmas Show, 6, the Brett Family Christmas Show, and the Shepherd of the Hills Christmas Show. Insurance is available. Your 50% deposit is due September 20th. So call 785-242-1220 or email kofo@kofo.com to reserve your spot.
You're listening to the Nick Davis Coaches Show on KOFO, live from our sponsor location, Primetime Grill. Now, back to the show. Here's your host, Casey Weeder.
Welcome back to the Nick Davis Coaches Show, live from Primetime Grill. Forgot to mention, for those that usually tune in to hear the voice of Bob Johnson, Bob is going to be out for a few weeks, still going to do the Football Family and Food podcast as well as the pregame, which will start at 5 p.m. on Saturday as the Braves take on number 8 Southwestern. Bob coming off an injury of his own in a surgery, had triple arthrodesis surgery at 7 pins and 32 staples. I know he's listening right now and tuning in and really excited about Saturday. I don't think there's another broadcaster in this conference that puts in as much effort as Bob does. And Nick, you've had a chance to already do a couple podcasts with him, and you know how much work he puts in as well.
Yeah, no, he's super dedicated to Ottawa University and especially our football program, and it's, little sadness that he's not here right now. You're a great fill-in, but, Bob is the GOAT of the coaches show, so we're hoping for a speedy recovery and him to get here at some point.
He is the voice of Ottawa University. I know we go back and forth. He tells me it's differently, but he's been with this football program, I believe, since 2007 was his first year, so has seen all the progression since then, and looking forward to having him back here in about 6 to 8 weeks. So, Coach, as you look at your coaching staff, it's a complete overhaul from a year ago. Bringing in Tyler Hennis to run the offense for your team. Dante Barty is the new defensive coordinator. Let's start with Coach Hennis, kind of his background, his style that we're kind of going to see on Saturday, and what fans can look for out of that OU offense.
Yeah, we were very fortunate when Coach Kessinger retired, and we needed to fill kind of the position. Obviously, we had Julian Mendez at the time, who was our offensive coordinator and one of my greatest friends here in life. And so Tyler came in. He had was at SWASU there in Oklahoma Division II school as an offensive coordinator, and his head coach kind of got let go. So in the profession, when your head coach gets let go, pretty much everyone on the staff gets let go as well. So we had a really good football coach who was a offensive coordinator at the Division II level. He's coached Division I, and he's coached junior college. He's coached high school. So brings in a lot of experience. He's from Mulvane, Kansas, so he's local to, relatively local. Obviously, Mulvane's down there in the Wichita area. So we were super excited to bring him and get some fresh thoughts. And really, we've been running his offense since spring football. So the loss of Coach Mendez wasn't anything, great other than losing a great football coach and a great human being. From a offensive scheme, our guys just kept plugging because we had been running the same thing. So his big philosophy is he wants to play a lot of football players and a lot of different personnels. So, our depth chart shows 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 receivers. But you're going to see 3 tight ends, you're going to see 4 wide receivers, you're going to see 3-4 running backs at a time, and it really fits in with our roster because we have a lot of talent across the board offensively. So we're going to play a lot of personnels, and then he's big on if the team is going to let us throw for 500, then we're going to go and throw for 500. If a team's going to let us run for 500, then we're going to try to run for 500, and if a team's going to be balanced, then we're going to be pretty balanced. So it brings excitement, and we'll feature probably 6 running backs with carries on Saturday, and there's going to be probably 7 to 8 wide receivers and 4 tight ends getting into the mix.
Well, just some names for Braves fans to remember. Corey Jones at wide receiver coming back. Jermaine Ziegler, who played 4 games last year for this team and actually had his best game of the year against Southwestern, 8 catches, 169 yards, and a touchdown. He is back as well. And then you've got Correll Hill and Ontario White. And really, I mean, as an offensive coordinator looking at this team, you've got an offensive line that has a lot of experience with Jamie Saldivar, Trevor Concher, Madrid Steele, and Jackson Knight all back from last year. And then you mentioned Daniel Sanchez earlier. And then that bevy of running backs. I mean, James Reeder is back, Devin Johnston, Derek Curtis, and then a couple newcomers as well to kind of throw into the mix. It really just comes down to quarterback and who's going to be taking those snaps. And I don't know if you want to go into that at all, but you've got some guys that you brought in I'm sure you're excited about.
Yeah, no, I mean, Southwestern saw the 2 deep, so there's no surprises. Austin is going to be Zavala is going to be our starting quarterback for this weekend, but we feel really confident about 3 of our quarterbacks, Billy Maples and then Noah Schumann. All 3 we feel an upgrade for what we had last season in terms of our quarterback play, and we're willing to use 3. If Southwestern, if you're listening, but we're willing to use 3. But we're also smart too. If Austin goes in and he's hot, then he may not come out. But all 3 are very capable of winning us football games. And if you look at Southwestern season last year, they started 3 different quarterbacks on a championship run. And all of them were productive for them. And they have a similar problem too, where they have 3 really good quarterbacks on a roster, and one guy is going to start the game for them.
That's right. Well, at least we'll know this time because we didn't have Luke Barnes not on the 2 deep a year ago. I was going to ask that here when we get to their segment, but it was interesting. They actually did an interview with him at halftime of that game, even though we didn't have him on our 2 deep when we showed up. So some KCAC trickery, which, you got to experience your first media day this year where everyone likes to hide all their kids, but when the lights turn on, we're going to see the numbers and everyone's going to be able to know who's on the roster. So I think that's how didn't get to play, neither team has played a non-conference game, so you can hide it a little bit. But anything you picked up from that media day experience that was unique, or what was your first thought of that?
No, everyone was very I think I named more football players total than all the other combined coaches there on the KCAC media day. I think it was people were there so they didn't get fined type operation.
Yeah, you have to say how many not returners, but letter winners. If you took one snap, I guess you could say you're a letter winner, so coaches will sib on that end. But your other hire is, as far as a full-time assistant, in Dante Barty as the defensive coordinator, and I've been out there at practice and seen him. He is I've seen him on all fours at some point pounding the turf. He's got a lot of energy, to say the least. What have been your thoughts so far of having him on staff, and what has he brought to this team?
Yeah, super smart guy. Started coaching when he was 17 years old at a high school, the Perry High School in Arizona, as he was in college there at Arizona State, continue and end up being a defensive coordinator, and then kind of been on the fast track. His first job was at a Division II school in Iowa. He went to then Cal Berkeley to be a graduate assistant. So if you're taking graduate classes at Cal Berkeley, you got to be a pretty smart individual. He was at Southern Miss last season, and few of my mutual connections, I was able to bring him here, and has a similar mindset of me. It wants to play tight coverage with the defensive backs and make it really, really hard for quarterbacks to complete passes. So kind of using our terminology, but really he has full reign of whatever he wants to do on defense, but bringing in a similar mindset of what I had. So our guys really picked up because we use the same terminology. Things get coached a little bit differently, obviously, and I'm totally fine with that. It's his. I told him it's your show, man. Stop people, and I'm going to go over on offense and coach the really good running backs, hopefully, and you just stop people on defense. So we're really happy with him, and he does bring a lot of energy, and I feel like our defense hasn't skipped a beat.
One thing that he does have at his one of his weapons is the All-American Devin Johnston, and a player that 8 interceptions a year ago, also a kick return for a touchdown, but 4 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 28 tackles. Does he have to be kind of the quarterback of that defense going into Saturday?
Yeah, him and Kyle Reynolds. Kyle Reynolds is the guy who started for us for 2 games last year, and both of them back there are quarterbacking the defense. We have 2 super intelligent human beings back there kind of running the operation, and then obviously Coach Barty is the mad scientist, pulling the strings. But anytime you can have a academic All-American type kid and a All-American football player on the field back there that led the country in interceptions is a good thing for Ottawa football, I think.
Yeah, 14 interceptions for the defense a year ago, 14 fumble recoveries, which was 7th in the country, and then adding 17 sacks. The 2 players that I was really impressed with in the spring game and I felt like took a big jump last year was Samad Ali and Santino G. Players that have a lot of athleticism. You get them into space. Santino's actually played offense and defense during his time here. Has he found a home at outside linebacker for this squad? And, being a senior, where is his leadership role on this squad?
Yeah, he has. Anytime you can get a kid who can wrestle varsity and as a freshman qualified for nationals, and the kid can go run the 100-meter dash, and now you're putting him as a 5 technique down on the defensive line as our outside linebacker, just freak skills. And there was a play where our offense in the spring game went for an 80-yard touchdown, and Samad Ali, who was one of our linebackers, our field linebacker, and Tino, our boundary linebacker, were almost catching him at the goal line after they had a 15-yard deficit. So I was like, I think we got some speed, and Samad and Tino bring a physicality and a leadership, and they're doing a heck of a job for us on defense.
the position is you had two All-Americans one at linebacker with Colby Johnston, and then also Jacob Garcia at the defensive line. We'll start with the inside position just because you're going to hear this name a lot. And Colby racked up 500 tackles during his career. So in the two deep has Jensen Riffle starting, but also I know A.J. Hemphill has played there before. I really like watching Junior Villa in the JV game as well. Anyone else that Braves fans can expect to kind of be in that inside linebacker rotation?
Yeah, I think those three, we have two talented freshmen in Brandon Doles and Cody Presley are two kind of talented. Jabari Davis is a kid from Houston, Texas, that you're going to see out on the field doing some special things. So, kind of in the middle, AJ and Riffler are going to be kind of the guys from day one. But you're probably, Coach Barty's able to put Samad and Tino in those positions. And we kind of play a positionless defense where they all know the scheme. So you're able to get in some different packages where you have the fastest dudes on the field to be your linebackers.
And looking at your defensive line, anytime I see James Gladden step out, he fits the mold of what you want a DN to be. 6 foot 242. Had a huge freshman year last year. Finished with 38 total tackles, a couple sacks as well. But it has to be a guy I'm sure that is. He's the oldest one on that D line at this point. Looking at it, talk a little bit about James.
Yeah, he has a heck of a work ethic. Works his butt off. Does everything we ask him to do, and I'm excited for kind of these next 2 years to see him progress into what I think he's capable of doing in terms of all conference and maybe awards beyond that, because he's relentless. So I'm excited to see what his future is here, and I think he can do more and show the Braves Nation more what he's capable of doing here in the next few years. As we look at the rest of your staff, of course, Jacob Garcia coming back to coach on the defensive side, Cole Greenwood as well. Anyone else on that kind of in that group as well? I know you've got a couple GAs, but what are they kind of coaching, and where can we kind of see them on? Yeah. So Jacob and Cole are coaching our defensive line. So having two alums and two really good alums are pretty good. So our D-line's learning a lot from those guys. Reese Schaff is our GA. He's coaching our linebackers. He graduated from William Jewell. He actually went and coached high school football down in the Tampa area. His brother is on the team, and, I made a phone call. Dad said, that Reese may be interested in coaching for us. So I called him up, and he said it was pretty hard to turn down being able to coach, his brother. So we're excited about him as our linebackers coach, and then our offensive line coach is Oliver Pate, who actually played for Coach Hennis at SWASU, and he actually played at St. Mary's a few years ago. So we actually have film of him blocking Jensen Riffle that we watched on Huddle the other day, and we actually watched him versus some of Southwestern's guys just to see the personnel. Not a lot of times you're able to ask one of your football coaches what the personnel of the other teams are playing. And in fact, we have two guys that have played against these Southwestern guys, in Jacob and him. And so we're pretty fortunate with a young, hungry crew of guys that come into work and, they kind of are the head coaches of their different roles, and they're excited, and hopefully we can get them a first college football victory here pretty soon. Well, we'll be there on Saturday calling it for you. I want to mention for sure 5 p.m. pregame. Bob Johnson will have that. That is a full hour of pregame, and we'll give you that opening kickoff of 2022 at 6 p.m. You can hear it on KOFO, KOFO.com, and the new KOFO app. And then also we'll have the live stream, so our audio will be on the live stream on OttawaBraves.com and the KCAC network. We'll take our second break here from Primetime Grill. You've been listening to the Nick Davis Coaches Show live from Primetime Grill.
I shouldn't have to tell you this, but the big game isn't nearly as much fun when you have to watch it on a small screen. So make a play for Ottawa's Primetime Grill. With more than 40 screens, dozens of meal options, and a full-service bar, it's the place to be, from the first pitch to the last call. And you don't have to watch alone. Check out the party rooms at Primetime Grill that you can combine and hold as many as 100 hungry fans. Take a time out from that small screen you're watching now and check out primetimegrill.com for room rental and package details. For game time, it's prime time.
There's no better way to support your favorite teams at Ottawa University than by showing up wearing Braves apparel from the OU Fan Shop. This is Jalen from OU Track Team inviting you to get your t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, jerseys, and more at the OU Fan Shop. Located in the Gibson Student Center on campus, the Fan Shop is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if you can't make it to campus, you can still order online at ottawabraves.com and be the best dressed member of Brave Nation. Thank you for supporting OU Brave Sports.
Ottawa University. Prepare for a lifetime of significance.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
Doug.
Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 and 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The KOFO Travel Club is heading to Branson for a weekend getaway, December 2nd through the 4th. Crossroad Tours will make pickups in Ottawa and Lewisburg, then head to Branson for an Ozark Mountain Christmas. Check into the Grand Oaks Hotel and enjoy a 3-day whirlwind of shows, shopping, dining, and more. Per person pricing is $589 for a double, $669 for a single, with triple and quad options available. The tour includes round-trip transportation, 2 nights hotel, 5 meals, drive-through light display, shopping at Branson Craft Mall, Branson Landing, Osceola Cheese, the Amish Trading Post, and the driver gratuity. And the shows. You'll see Clay Cooper Christmas Show, 6, the Brett Family Christmas Show, and the Shepherd of the Hills Christmas Show. Insurance is available. Your 50% deposit is due September 20th. So call 785-242-1220 or email kofo@kofo.com to reserve your spot.
You're listening to the Nick Davis Coaches Show on KOFO, live from our sponsor location, Primetime Grill. Now, back to the show. Here's your host, Casey Weeder.
And we're back at the Nick Davis Coaches Show live from Primetime Grill. I know we didn't get to it in the last segment, Nick, but want to talk about special teams. You lose the kicker from last year, a senior graduating, but you do bring back Adam Gilbert, the punter from Drexel, Missouri, who last year did a great job of pinning teams deep, had 17 punts that were inside the 20-yard line, averaged almost 37 yards per punt with a long of 65, and it's his third year punting. I assume you're expecting him to take another giant step as not only he plays basketball at OU, but has a giant leg.
Well, I really would like him to punt 0 times this year, Casey, but if we do need to punt, he has a lot of experience, and he's actually doing some receiver running back stuff for us as well, and we took all of our kickers actually to the JV game, and he kicked a 75-yard punt in the JV game, which their coaches are like, man, what's with that kid? Well, I think we were getting reps at running back, but I wanted him to punt one time.
I think it's built into kind of the dynamic of Ottawa University that I think Michael Siebold might have been like the last true punter that was just, but if you look at like the Anthony Gambona and the Michael Bear and, we've had other Travis Adamson, another punter that we've had at Ottawa that played another position that was an athlete as well. But it adds a dynamic in that, you can run fakes off of that. You can do a lot of different things when you have an athlete back there punting the football.
Yeah, for sure. And we feel pretty fortunate with him playing a position because we have a really good freshman and Trevor Bywater from Florida, who's a heck of a player. He's actually going to play lacrosse here at Ottawa as well. And then we feel pretty good about our kicking situation with 2 of freshmen. Louis, my man Louis McMullen, is going to line up for field goals on Saturday. And then my man Brett Turner is going to kick off for us. So he's kind of maybe has the stronger leg, and Louis may be more accurate at this point, but they're both really good, and they've both been kind of competing for the kicking role. But we're going to end up with probably 3 different guys doing certain things for us this weekend.
Well, I followed Lewis since he signed with Ottawa out of Olathe Northwest, but he's been here all summer, and posted some videos on social media and some big field goals. And I'm sure he knows what the record's at as far as he's mentioned it to me. He stopped by, confident kid. I like that in a kicker. So I'm excited to see him kick, and I've seen all those young freshmen out there. So I think that competition only helps.
For sure, and they're all really good guys, and we get them involved. A lot of kickers that, hey, you give them the football and tell them to go kick on another field or something. we got them out spotting balls for us. One day we did a kicker long ball receiving competition, so those guys got some action. I was hoping none of them got injured, and they didn't. So we keep them involved and want them to be a part of our team as much as possible.
Well, you mentioned, kind of keeping them engaged with the rest of the game. I think that's one thing that goes unnoticed when you're a kicker is, things happen rapidly and things change, and you have to, when the offense is on the field, the defense can kind of take a break, where if you're on special teams, that never stops. You kind of have to know what's going on, and I like that you have them out there spotting and kind of doing some other things as well. So that's a good deal. Kay had me do that my senior year a little bit as well, more so for conditioning. I think that's how he worked with me. But we'll kind of move into your opponent on Saturday. The number 8 ranked team in the country in Southwestern College, and what a turnaround Brad Griffin has had at Southwestern. There were some games in the early or late 2000s where it was blowouts for 4 or 5 years between Ottawa and Southwestern. They took a huge jump over the last couple of years, a 9-2 finish last year, made it to the playoffs. They were a 3-way tie for the conference title, and so Kansas Wesleyan and Southwestern were the 2 out of the 3 to go to the playoffs. And I've watched that game against Marion a couple times. I don't know how they didn't win that game. You look at the statistics, everything was in their favor. They did have 3 fumbles, but that is a confident group that you're going to see coming into Advent Health Field Saturday.
Yeah, they're a really good football team, and they bring back a lot of starters from that team last year, and they're loaded on offense, and they bring back, I think, 8 of the 11 starters on defense, and some of those guys that are going to be new starters for them, you saw them on film last season. So there's not many holes with this unit, and they play super hard, and Coach is a great dude, and we ran across their path this summer in recruiting. So, it's tough when they're really good and he's a nice guy.
Well, he's in his 8th season, and one name you won't hear this year, which he went to my rival high school, so I had to hear it for the last 5 years, is Keyshawn Wyatt. Notice that he did sign as he's a GA now for them, so of course he's going to be there Saturday. And so it's he had a great career at Southwestern. They've got other guys as well as you look at this group. I mean, Luke Barnes coming back at quarterback. They have Thomas Yam and Cagle as well as an option. But Jaquilis Coleman at running back. I mean, they have 12 guys on this team that were selected to the preseason on combined on both sides of the ball. And that game last year, second game of the year for your team, first game of the year for them. So there was a lot of unknowns as far as being able to prepare. Is it something this year where you kind of know that you're going to have to make adjustments at halftime? They're not going to be the same team. I mean, this was a 14-13 game going into half last year.
Yeah, and they were different. The year before when they played, it was a lot of 11 and 12 personnel offensively, and then we get to the game, and it was 10 and 11. And so, who knows? We don't know what's going on there. They may have 3 really good tight ends and 2 fullback and a running back. They may line up in goal line every single snap. So you got to go into the game with your base rules, and you got to be able to adapt and overcome different things. Maybe Luke Barnes, their 31-year-old quarterback, maybe he's not going to start. He wasn't on the 2 deep last year. So they got a guy who's not even listed on their 2 deep that won a conference championship 2 years ago and had an ACL surgery, and then came back and played 2 games, beat Kansas Wesleyan last year, and then redshirted so he could come back for this season. So they have, and then a young man in Yam that started their playoff game and almost got the victory against Marion. So they got really 3 good quarterbacks, and then they got a freshman kid that we really like that we were recruiting as well.
They, you look at the group as a whole, the players that Ottawa really has to try and slow down. I'm not sure you can stop him completely, but you look at Andre Jones last year, 42 catches, 733 yards, but then it comes down to Keyshawn Jones as well, the transfer from Garden City. He set the record for passes caught and total yards. But the good thing for your squad is that Kevin Wade is back at corner. Jan Kiwo is also back. So they've seen these guys already. They know the speed that they're looking at. Has that kind of been, as Kevin and Jan been able to kind of talk with the rest of the defensive backs as far as, what they're going to be looking at on Saturday?
Yeah, I think, it's nice that all of our guys in the secondary that we're going to ask to cover these guys covered them last year. Now, we obviously didn't do it too effective at some points, but they at least know those kids' capability. And number 0 is one of the best football players in this conference. And not to slight my guy 80, who's a really good football player, but 0 is he's super fast, and 80 is a really good football player. And they're Coleman, their running back, he hurt us maybe more than Wyatt did in certain situations last year. So we're just going to have to, be really physical. We're going to have to tackle well. We're going to have to cover, and we're going to have to get after the quarterback on our pass rush.
Really the biggest difference in that game was third downs, which Ottawa 4 of 15. They were 7 of 15, and then penalties. We had 11 for 126. If I remember, maybe some personal fouls, or maybe it was pass interference. I don't remember what it was, but maybe some things that affected those third down conversions and only being 4 of 15.
Yeah, we had a lot of, on offense, a lot of 1st and 25s, and that turned into 3rd and 20s and 3rd and 15s. And, Ziegler had a heck of a performance against them, and, our quarterback's no longer on our roster that played in that game, but I believe 4 of our offensive linemen started in that game, so they are going to have the experience. But their defense plays super hard, and they got really good football players on the defensive side of the football. 43, who's actually going to be 44, we just found out today. He's one of their preseason all-conference guys. They return a cornerback, number 23, who's a heck of a football player. And they got guys at every level. They have some of the best defensive linemen in the conference, and guys that just play hard with the chip on their shoulders. So, I wouldn't want it any other way than open up against a really good team, and we're going to find out how good we are.
Well, we'll take our second to last break here on the Nick Davis Coaches Show. When we come back, we'll ask Coach some fun questions, get a little bit away from the football, and then bring it back. You're listening to the Nick Davis Coaches Show live from Primetime Grill.
I shouldn't have to tell you this, but the big game isn't nearly as much fun when you have to watch it on a small screen. So make a play for Ottawa's Primetime Grill. With more than 40 screens, dozens of meal options, and a full-service bar, it's the place to be, from the first pitch to the last call. And you don't have to watch alone. Check out the party rooms at Primetime Grill that you can combine and hold as many as 100 hungry fans. Take a time out from that small screen you're watching now and check out primetimegrill.com for room rental and package details. For game time, it's prime time. We're at Ottawa University on registration day for new students, asking them why they chose to attend OU.
I'm excited to meet everybody, get to know a lot of new people, and just enjoy college, have fun. It just feels like home, small campus.
I liked the atmosphere here. It wasn't too big of a college, and that's what I was wanting, so I feel like Ottawa was a great spot for me.
Find out if Ottawa University is a good place for you. Visit online at ottawa.edu. Ottawa University. Prepare for a lifetime of significance.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay, and that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
The KOFO Travel Club is heading to Branson for a weekend getaway, December 2nd through the 4th. Crossroad Tours will make pickups in Ottawa and Lewisburg, then head to Branson for an Ozark Mountain Christmas. Check into the Grand Oaks Hotel and enjoy a 3-day whirlwind of shows, shopping, dining, and more. Per person pricing is $589 for a double, $669 for a single, with triple and quad options available. The tour includes round-trip transportation, 2 nights hotel, 5 meals, drive-through light display, shopping at Branson Craft Mall, Branson Landing, Osceola Cheese, the Amish $5 trading post and the driver gratuity. And the shows. You'll see Clay Cooper Christmas Show, 6, the Brett Family Christmas Show, and the Shepherd of the Hills Christmas Show. Insurance is available. Your 50% deposit is due September 20th. So call 785-242-1220 or email KOFO@KOFO.com to reserve your spot.
You're listening to the Nick Davis Coaches Show on KOFO, live from our sponsor location, Primetime Grill. Now, back to the show. Here's your host, Casey Weeder.
Welcome back to the Nick Davis Coaches Show, live from Primetime Grill. As we get to our final segment, one thing that has been introduced this year, Nick, and it's a mixture of to help with kind of some hydration breaks and then trying to make, now that everyone is streaming through Production Truck and Blue Frame, they want to give some schools the opportunity to add some more ads in. We will have media timeouts for the first time this year. So 90-second media timeouts in each quarter. Have y'all, I know that's something probably no one has prepared for yet, but that is a significant amount of time in the KCAC. As we know, when touchdowns are scored, we're back kicking off 50 seconds later. Have y'all even discussed that, or has that been anything you focused on?
I really don't think it's going to be too big of a factor. And I do think it's nice for especially these early games with the heat, being able to get, I think it's an advantage of the fact that if you had an offensive player on your kickoff team after you score, that guy's going to be fully rested by the time he has to go out and run down the field. So I think it's a positive. These kids want to play at the highest level, and that's what they're doing at the highest level. So it may be a pain for the media, but as a coach, as long as we're not taking another half an hour in the game, I think the media timeouts, we won't have to adjust too much.
So, Coach, as we kind of transition to some more fun questions here, most people know I was a kicker here, so I have my superstitions and things that I did as far as the 3 songs I had to listen to, number of, the socks I had to wear, the different things that I had to do. Same thing I ate for 4 years as a player. Now that you're transitioning to a head coach, are you keeping any of the same superstition or same routine? Are you changing anything? Talk me kind of through what you're thinking for Saturday.
We're going to be pretty similar to what we've done in the past. The way we'll warm up will be a little slightly different. We're going to go out a little later.
Okay.
Then spend as much time in the locker room as possible. We were kind of in the locker room for 25 minutes last year, and it was left up to our kids and the coaches, and that's what they wanted to do. So I don't care. I'm not playing in the game, so whatever they want to do. And then what we are going to do this year is traditionally did chapel on Saturday morning before the game. We're going to do chapel on Friday evening with our whole entire team, whether it's a home or away game, which isn't something that we did. Pastor Tiger Pennington here in town, I think, is one of the best human beings on the planet, and he comes and talks to our team. And in fact, hopefully we can get him out for the prayer this Saturday before the game. And phenomenal human being, and that gives me a day where I don't necessarily have to be in front of the guys and talk about all the things we want, that he can kind of deliver a message. And he's a great guy that, yes, he's a man of God, but he's not a preachy guy to our players. It's, hey, here's an example in life, and this is what you guys can get from it. So those are kind of new things we do. But in terms of me, if we win and I wear the same thing a few weeks in a row, I might wear that. But if, or if I wear the same thing and we lose a few weeks in a row, I might find a new attire. But I'm not too superstitious in terms of the coaching side of things. But when I was a player, I did wear the same shirt and did some certain things like that.
So I was going to ask, that was maybe my next question. We know Coach K was a vest guy early on in his career. Are you going to be – we've seen KCAC go from – it was very traditional. I know some coaches wore ties on the sidelines at some points when I was a player, to now it's athletic shorts for some teams in this conference and T-shirts. What are you thinking you're going to wear Saturday?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to wear shorts. I think it's more of a pants profession, but there's lots of successful coaches out there that wear shorts and kick people's butts. So I don't think there's too much to that. But I did tell our staff that they needed to wear pants, but I didn't say that they needed to be dress pants. Joggers are popular now, and Adidas. I'm wearing some Adidas. ice rink pants because Coach Mendes' big calves couldn't fit into regular skinny Adidas pants. Shout out to my man Julian down there in Texas, but probably a long sleeve shirt or a polo and some Adidas joggers that look like dress pants. Be comfortable.
We'll give a shout out to Adidas. Those slacks from them. I mean, they're very breathable for sure. So as we, from your experience here, the first time around as a GA, had a chance to play against played several night games. Has there been? We know how different it is at Advent Health Field for a night game compared to some of those 1 o'clock kicks. We're expecting a huge crowd Saturday. Did you have a favorite night game that you remember, or like maybe a memory from playing a night game or being around, whatever it is at that point for you?
Well, I think any game we won, I believe we played Baker at night, my first college football game, and Clarence Anderson, I'm sure scored a touchdown. He scored
the
about
opening
every
kickoff.
game.
Yeah, that.
So that would be a night game that sticks in my mind, and I think we had won every night game we played. So hopefully night games are lucky, but it does bring out a nice crowd, and especially this late in September or late August, you're going to get a very hot Saturday afternoon. So it is nice to play a Saturday evening game.
As you kind of prepare for your first team talk before they walk out of the locker room, and you've heard a lot of those, whether it was from Coach Amolka, some of those famous ones that we might not be able to air online, but the guy was so good at engaging with his team. Coach K was the same way. Wendell Smith gave some epic ones from my playing career. Have you started to gather any of those thoughts yet for you as you look towards giving that final talk before the team takes the field for the first time in 2022?
Yeah, so we've kind of talked with our seniors, and we're going, obviously I'll say something, but I'm going to let our seniors kind of have the last word before. This is their team. We'll have, I think, 20 seniors on senior day from what I've calculated, some guys that may have a chance to play a different season but kind of want to go out this year and not use their COVID gear. So they're going to address the team for 1 or 2 minutes, and we're going to go out, and this is their senior year, and I want each and every one of those guys to be able to kind of address the team before each game. So we're going to schedule it out, and hopefully they got some fiery messages for those guys, and maybe my big time message will be a big time halftime speech.
Well, I can tell you the helmet will be up. That's one of my pet peeves. That thing has to be up. I know how much Kevin Eichner loved that thing, and then also plenty of smoke for your guys. I know that fireworks are being discussed over the next. If we get it for this one, if we don't have it for this one, we're trying to get it for here in a couple weeks. I know maintenance has been really helpful on that end. So the hype will be there. We'll have the music bumping for them, and it sounds like, based off what we're pretty active on the Facebook page for alums, we're going to have a lot of people tailgating. And I think that's a huge plus, getting family and parents and fans there early, as they have now. Actually, if you're going to be there, there will be tailgating options in the whole center parking lot and then all along 11th Street down to the baseball stadium. So if you want to set up, play some yard games, definitely welcome to do that. Any thoughts to give to the fans as we start the Nick Davis era Saturday?
No, we just want to see each and every one of you guys out, whether you're an alumni, a fan, a parent, just someone in our community of Ottawa or one of the surrounding communities or the surrounding counties. We want to get you guys out here, and we want to show you a great brand of football, and we want to make you a part of our family as we do this. And our guys have worked super hard, and we're going to go out, and we're going to give it our best shot. And, if adversity strikes, we're going to try to overcome it and become better human beings as we enjoy playing this game of football.
Before we go, we again want to thank Primetime Grill for everything tonight. What did we order tonight, Nick?
Yeah, tonight I had their boneless wings, a little less messy when you're on a radio show and you're trying to eat between segments, and their French fries. But I had the Parmesan garlic wings, so always good food here at Primetime. I know they have a $1 off burger special going on when the coaches show is going on. Can't go wrong with a burger. Can't go wrong with really anything here at Primetime Grill.
Well, as we wrap things up, reminders for Saturday. So 5 p.m. you'll have pregame with Bob Johnson. That'll start at 5 o'clock. He'll talk with defensive coordinator Dante Barty, offensive coordinator Tyler Hennis, and then we'll have an interview with head coach Nick Davis about 30 minutes before his team takes the field, and we'll send it up to the press box, myself, and hopefully joined by Bruce Tate, a former Ottawa player and assistant athletic director at Ottawa University, to help me out a little bit on the color commentary, as we'll have that call for you starting at 6 o'clock with first kick. Nick, I want to thank you again for everything, for joining us today. And we're going to wrap it up here from the very first week one of the Nick Davis Coaches Show live from Primetime Grill.
Locally owned and operated by Brandy Communications. Hometown proud for over 70 years. KOFO K279CS Ottawa.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Andy Field. Updated COVID booster shots on the way.